Hey guys, welcome to The Single Chef. I'm Matt Skollar. I'm your classic single guy with the classic single guy's fridge and ingredients. The difference is I know how to use these items simply and quickly to create a tasty meal you can't mess up. So good that even a beautiful woman will be impressed. But if you can't take my word for it, you can't not take our lovely Lily's word for it. Right, Lil?
That's right, Matt. I'm going to try your food and tell it like it is. So what are you going to cook for me tonight?
Tonight, guys, I'm doing something that I call Mom's Swedish meatball recipe, okay? And basically, before I really delve into it, it's Swedish meatballs, that's right, you guessed it. I'm also doing a little side of curried rice with some chopped sauteed spinach. Have you ever had that combination of food, or have you ever had Swedish meatballs?
I haven't, and honestly, I don't have a lot of experience with Swedish culture or food. However, I did see a Swedish film last night, and there were no meatballs in it. So I hope you can complete that Swedish experience for me.
I think I can handle that. I think I can take care of that. I will complete what the movie failed at. Why am I holding this? Well, we're doing a little spin on Mom's Swedish meatball recipe. I'm doing vegetarian-style meatballs tonight. So just so you know out there, I don't always eat these high-caloric, delicious meals. I like to cook vegetarian sometimes and mix it up. So I've got these great brand of meatballs here, veggie balls. We've got a couple of packets of those. But before I get into that, as always, we'll be choosing from our 10 single chef ingredients. And to go through the list again, as always, we have soy sauce and Worcestershire sauce. I've got ketchup and mustard. Every single person out there should have ketchup and mustard in their pantry. I've got some hot sauce. You got to have hot sauce. I've got my canola oil, salt and pepper, garlic, and our sometimes ringer 1,000-gallon dressing. That plus what I shop for tonight, guys. And what I got for you here is I have a nice assortment of colors and textures and flavors, and if it all comes together correctly, we're all going to be happy campers. So for those of you following along, what did I shop for? I shopped for some jasmine rice, which I already actually had in my pantry. Like I said, I have 2 packages of veggie balls, and these are delicious, guys. They're really like the best veggie meatballs that I've found on the market. So take a look at that and buy those. Great. I also have some fresh spinach. I've got a little bit of half and half. I've got some grape jelly and some curry powder. Okay, so are you hungry, Lil?
I'm starving.
Me too. Let's get this show on the road, guys. Let's do this. First thing I want to do, guys, is I want to cut up my onion, and I want to start browning that in my saute pan. So I have a whole raw onion here. I'm just going to cut the ends off. And while I'm doing that, let me remind our viewers out there that we have a live chat room. If you're watching right now, you can see that you're able to get online live and chat with us. So you can ask us questions. Lily will take the questions. She will relay them to me, and I'll try and answer them for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this onion in half, and I'm just going to make a little just going to slice the top of the skin there so that just kind of peels off, because we don't want any of that top layer of the onion messing with us. And I'm going to do the same with this half. So what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm just getting this onion ready here. And like I said, I'm just going to put it in our saute pan, which is already heating up over there. And I'm going to brown this onion. This will be the base of our Swedish meatball sauce. Now, why is it called Mom's Swedish meatball sauce? It's a great question. Glad you asked. My mother, who's a fantastic cook, who I tailed around in the kitchen so much when I was a little kid, it's kind of where I learned my culinary beginning from. I'm going to start cutting this onion. I made a mistake, and I didn't run the onion under cold water, and my eyes are really starting to water right now. It's live TV, guys. This is what happens. Woohoo! I'm going to run that under some cold water. It's like I just came out of the English patient. Oh, my goodness.
So is that how you prevent yourself from crying when you're chopping
Yeah,
onions?
you want to run the onion under some cold water. It just kind of takes off that initial sting. That's much better. Okay, so where was I? Mom's Swedish meatball mix. So when I was a kid, my mom cooked all kinds of stuff. One of the things she would knock out every now and then was her Swedish meatballs, generally when we had people over for parties. And we had a lot of parties back in the 70s. My parents, they like to have fun. Cool parties. Anyways, so I'm a big eater. I ate everything she made. And the Swedish meatballs, put like little toothpicks in them, and they'd be appetizers. But I'd see how she made them, and she used a couple of things that I thought were very interesting. One of which was grape jelly, and ketchup was part of her sauce. And so I always kind of associated those two ingredients with Swedish meatballs. Now, this is not a traditional Swedish meatball, because in traditional Swedish meatballs, they don't use grape jelly or ketchup. But I guarantee you guys, I know it sounds a little funky, but this stuff works. And I asked my mom just today, I'm like, Mom, where'd you come up with that recipe? Because I'm going to do that on the show. And she said, honestly, Matt, one night when I was a kid, she grew up in Panama. Her mom was making meatballs, and she had the meat juices, and she kind of mixed a little bit of jelly because she didn't have anything else to sweeten it up. And then she added some tomato sauce, hence like ketchup. And she said it tasted great, and that's where it came from. So it passed down to my mom, and now it's passing down to me, and now I'm showing you guys out here. So I'm pretty psyched about that. All right, I've got half an onion here cut up. Now I'm going to put some oil in my pan. I'm going to get these onions going. So while I am doing that, Lil,
Yes.
I'm going to ask you if we have any questions from our
do.
lovely audience.
We do.
Awesome.
Regarding the grape jelly, Cook Me Silly wants to know if the grape jelly, if you taste the grape, do you get
in the recipe, you mean?
Yeah, does that add like a nice little grapey flavor to the meatball?
You do. I mean, if we do our job right, guys, all the ingredients are going to come together and gel real nicely. So yeah, you'll pick up hints of the grape jelly, but it's not going to taste like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. This I promise you. But my style of cooking is kind of fast and furious, and I don't measure. And if you've ever seen the show before, I rarely, never, ever measure anything. But I also like to blend everything, so there's not one ingredient that overwhelms any of the dish. So if we do our job right tonight, and I'll show you guys how we're going to do this, the grape jelly will be in there, but it won't be overwhelming, okay? But thank you for asking. Awesome. I'm going to put the remainder of these onions in there, get our oil a little hotter there, and what I want to do is I just want to make sure that these onions get oil, they get the oil all over them. We don't want any of them not swimming in a little bit of oil. I turned up the heat on that so it gets a little hotter. And next thing I want to do, because the rice takes a while, is I want to get our rice going. So I mentioned earlier, this is curried rice. And actually in Sweden they do use a lot of curry. It's part of the spice trade, not as much as they do in Britain, but part of the European nation where there's a lot of spices and a spice trade going on there. So this is not uncommon to Sweden and to Swedish cuisine. However, I didn't know that when I came up with this dish, because I learned this later, but I took my rice, and I do rice a lot. I do a lot of different kinds of rice. But with this dish, I was like, I want something simple. I want something that's a little colorful. I don't want just white rice. And I'm using jasmine rice, which has a really lovely flavor and texture. I recommend you use that. I like to use this in basmati rice a lot. So anyhow, here's what I do with the rice. First, I take some canola oil and I coat the bottom of the pot. Okay. Just like so. That's about 2 tablespoons worth. I want that pot to be nice and hot. So make sure that my heat is up there. We're using an electric oven, so it's on about a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Next thing I do, I pour my rice in there. And that's about half a cup. Maybe it's more like a cup, actually. Sorry. Okay? Now, I take my curry powder, and this is going to give it flavor. It's going to give it color, too. Like I said, I don't measure, but I'm thinking that's about a little more. That is about a tablespoon if you do want to measure, okay? Because I know some people out there are a little more organized than I am, and if they're writing it down, they want to write it down. I'd say about a tablespoon of curry. So now I'm going to take my salt, and I'm just going to add some salt and some pepper. Okay? Now this is not the way everyone makes rice, but this is the way my mom showed me how to make rice, Panamanian style. Here's how we do it. We let the oil get really hot, like I just did. Pour the rice in. Right now you're like, dude, what are you doing? Check it. I'm just going to mix that all up. Okay? What I'm doing there is a couple things. I'm distributing all the salt, pepper, and curry so all the rice picks up on it. I'm also letting all the rice hit the oil because I want it to get a little crunchy before I add my water. So I'm going to let that just sit in there for another couple of seconds. And before I put water on there, I'm going to chop up my spinach. Okay? I'm just going to chop this up real nice. And this is going to be one of our side dishes as well. Got a lot of spinach here. Let me put that, we don't need all that. That was just the bottom stems anyway. So I'm chopping it up two ways, the long way and the not so long way. So this is going to be one of our side dishes. I want to put this aside in a bowl, which I have behind me. And then it's time to add some water to our rice to get that stuff going good. Okay? Let me try and be neat today. We don't always achieve that here on the Single Chef. Sometimes it'd be nice if I had like someone to come and help me clean while I was cooking, but I don't. But that'll do for today. All right, I'm going to put this back here. Check it. I'm going to take this. I'm going to go put some water over it. I'm going to watch. Okay. So I put double the amount of water as to rice. So say I had a cup of rice, 2 cups of water. That's how you want to do it. It's real simple. I'm going to let that get really nice and warm and bubbling, the rice that is, before I cover it and simmer it. It cooks faster and it works. And it cuts down on your rice cooking time. So I have my onions here that are browning. They don't have to be, you know, completely 100% brown before I add my meatballs, which I'm going to do now. So I'm just going to cut these open, and I'm just going to add these to the pan. Let me just turn that down an inch, because I don't want anything to burn in there. I just want it to cook over sort of a medium heat. I'd love to hear a question if we have another one.
We do.
Great.
Well, you stated earlier that your mom, this was your mom's recipe.
Correct.
Happy Home Cook wants to know, besides your mom, who else has influenced your cooking? Oh,
wow. That's a great question. There's actually been a lot of influences on my cooking, my palate. As a young man, I had the pleasure of working at several different restaurants, mostly in New York City. And you know, if you've never been to New York, there's just tons of great restaurants. So I worked at a bunch of different places, from fine Italian to a great pizza place to a place that had incredible tapas. You name it, I worked there. Sometimes I didn't work there for very long, but I got a gist of what they were doing. So a lot of times what I do is when I taste food, I just want to have that memory in my head, and I want to recreate it at home. So I'll go immediately home if something like really hit me in a way I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. I like to cook while I talk, so let me just make sure that our meatballs are getting browned. You don't want any of the meatballs to just brown on one particular side and not get distributed nicely brown. So I want to make sure that they're getting browned on all sides. Okay, and our rice should be bubbling up pretty soon, and that's going to be ready to be covered. So, getting back to the story. So, I would go home, I'd buy the ingredients that I thought would go in there. You know, a lot of times I would ask the chef, hey man, what goes in that dish? It's awesome. And I'd go home and cook it. And I'd just experiment in my own kitchen. And I'd keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that until I was like, you know what? Sometimes I nailed it on the first try, sometimes not so much, but it wasn't quite as good as I had it in the restaurant. And I would, and basically, as a result of, you know, trial and error in my own kitchen with, you know, with these flavors and recipes, and plus what I learned from my mom, it's how I've come up with this stuff. Also, I haven't had the luxury of, you know, being rich, so I got to keep it on a budget. So I try to shop, you know, for inexpensive, you know, keep it under 10, 15 bucks. And what else? What's the other thing I missed? Oh, yeah. And also, you know, quick and easy. You know what I mean? It's not too complicated. Cooking, it can seem to overwhelm a person who turns on some of these cooking shows, and I love some of them, but there's a million ingredients. And you're like, dude, I can't do that at home. You can do this at home, because it's real easy. And I'm breaking it down and showing you how easy it is. So that's an awesome question. I really appreciate it. As you can see, I have a little bit of passion for this, so right on. All right, so here we go. Let's get these meatballs browned. There shall be no meatball left behind. You understand what I'm saying? Every meatball brown. Now, this is vegetarian style, as I mentioned. If you happen to do this recipe and you don't want to do it vegetarian style, get yourself some ground beef. You could even get some ground pork and mix them together and make meatballs. Maybe add some breadcrumbs, an egg, a few things, salt and pepper, combine it all together. Make your meatballs the same way, brown them in the skillet. So you can do this with with meat as well. I'm doing it vegetarian because, there are a lot of vegetarians out there, and like I said, I don't eat meat with every meal. So I'm happy to be able to cook with vegetarian ingredients as well. All right, so my rice is bubbling pretty much the way I want it to. I'm going to cover it, and I'm not turning it down yet. So what I've done, I just want to reiterate what I've done here with the rice. Coated the bottom with oil, got that oil nice and hot, threw in my rice, my salt and pepper, my curry, stirred it around so it all gets mixed in, let it get really hot, then cover it with twice as much water as rice, let that bubble. Now, covered it with the lid. I'm not simmering it yet. I want it to really bubble. I want this thing to really get hot like a volcano. It's going to bubble, and then I'm going to simmer it. And then in like 5-7 minutes, I got rice. Okay? So, my meatballs might need a little help, Lil.
Okay.
Cooking. Even though they're vegetarian meatballs, what I need to do is, I think I'm going to cut them in half. A couple of them, so they cook a little faster. Because I only have 25 minutes on this show. I got to make it fast. So what I'm going to do is this. Sometimes I improvise on the single chef, and I'm improvising right now. I'm going to take a few off here. Okay. And I got to make sure they're all cooked, browned nicely and crunchy and not soft, because I don't like vegetarian meatballs to be soft and mushy. They're not very good that way. So I'm just going to take them all off here. Let's not lose any meatballs. Okay. I'm also just going to take the onions and put them on top. So, quick adjustment. Just going to cut these guys in half. I have cooked a lot with vegetarian foods, and one thing I've noticed, guys, is that if you don't let it get a little crispy, then for me it's just mushy, and I'm just not a big fan of that. But these meatballs hold together very well. So, I'm just cutting them up, and I'm burning my thumb as I do it, because these are really hot. Okay, cool. Now it's all going back in the pan real quick. Then I'm going to hit it with something. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to speed up the process. I'm going to add a little bit of our Worcestershire to it. As you can hear, that's going to sizzle and pop. I like to hear that noise. That's going to help. That's going to help the meatless meatballs cook even faster. Now, let me show you guys what's going on with the rice here. Yeah, that's bubbling up real nice. Now I'm gonna turn it down to about a 2 and let it simmer. Ooh, yeah, that curry smells good. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit more oil to my meatballs. Okay. And these are getting cooked now. This is the way I want them to be cooked. I want them to be cooked in the middle as well as, on the outside as well. And that's what we have going on here. Now, here's where Mom's secret recipe comes into play. So, I put a little Worcestershire on there. I'm going to take some of our garlic powder. That's going on there as well. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of our soy sauce. That's going to give it a little saltiness. Okay, and now the jelly. I'm going to put about, let's see, how much is that? That's about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more of jelly. And I'm just going to mix that all around. And now, ketchup. That's right, ketchup. It's going in there. Utilizing those single chef ingredients, that should, if I do my job right, again, create a nice Swedish meatball gravy, Mom style. It's already starting to make a nice color. You can see it's getting a little purpley, a little red. That's what I like to see. Okay, we got our onions, our garlic. I think I'm going to hit it with just a little bit of hot sauce too. Because you got to spice up your life sometimes, right guys? I like to spice up my food. with a little hot sauce. There we go. Boom. Okay, I have some half and half here too. I'm going to add that in a second. Before I do, I'm going to ask Lily if we have any other questions.
We do.
Excellent.
Yeah.
What do we got?
Steal My Kisses would like to know if you've ever made your own veggie meatball.
I'm sorry, if I ever what?
Have you ever made your own veggie
Oh,
meatball?
my own from scratch veggie meatballs?
Yeah.
No, I've not. I'll be honest with you. I've never done it. But I am willing to learn. So if you have any ideas, let us know at theroomlive.com or on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and iTunes, as well as in the Room Live, all the single chef. So please, don't hesitate to fill me in on how to do a few things as I show you guys how to do a few things in the kitchen. Cool. That's a great question. Have you? Have you ever made your own?
No, I've never made a meatball of any sort.
No?
No. So.
All right, so can you see, do you have a good shot of that, guys? Can you see what that's looking like? I got to give a little taste test for that, guys. Also, let's see how our rice is doing. See? Rice is coming along really nicely. All right, so I want to taste these and see what we're working with here. That's really hot, so we need this. It's good. It really is. It's pretty much there. Here, I need a couple things. I'm putting a tiny bit more of the jelly. Okay? And I'm going to hit it with a little bit of this half and half to give it a little liquidy, a little cream. It's going to give it a little, it's going to deglaze the pan a little bit. Okay? So, let me hit that with that. That's going to make it a little more gravy-ish, if you will. Awesome. All right, so that's almost done, guys. I'm going to take that off the heat here in just a minute. I just want the rest of that half and half to hit the rest of the meatballs, which it almost is all there, almost all done. Okay, and then it's on to our spinach, and then it's on to eating, which is the best part. All right, so let me take the spinach out for a second. Okay. This, I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this in a second. We're going to cook that up. And that's only going to take about 45 seconds to cook. So let's put the meatballs, the finished meatball products, right here in this bowl. There we go. Meatballs done. Show you guys on camera. Very hot. We're going to let those simmer and cool down whilst I work on my spinach. Now, the spinach is very easy. I don't make it complicated at all. Just a couple of things, and we have a nice sauteed spinach dish. So I have some more canola oil in there. I'm simply going to take our chopped spinach, and this should sizzle. All right, we've got sizzle. We've got sizzle. And you're just gonna make sure that the oil gets all over all the pieces. Garlic powder. To taste. Put as much as you want, put as little as you want. I like to put a lot. Okay? Soy sauce. Whoops, that's the soy sauce right there. This is it. This is sort of Asian style, if you would. You got soy sauce, garlic, oil, and that's it. Spinach on a hot pan like this is going to cook very fast. So, whoops. See how our rice is doing? Rice is just about done. Now, let me get ready for plating and eating. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Let's get a little wash going on. And Lil, I will take one more question if we have one.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, we do.
Awesome.
Boston Tracy wants to know, what are the staples of your pantry at home?
You're looking at them, guys. 10 single chef ingredients. No kidding, this is not just made up. This is what I have. Not just for the show. If you're looking at it, you know, I may have a few extra things that here and there that maybe not everyone has, like maybe some paprika. You know, I have curry powder. You know, bottle of wine in the fridge, white bottle of red outside. But other than that, guys, I keep it real simple. You know, I cook like at home, like I do on the show. So, great question. Thanks for asking. You're looking at it. You're looking at it. Okay, so I'm gonna take some of this parsley. I'm just gonna chop that up finely. That's gonna just be a little nice color, a little garnish. I'm aware that my spinach is probably almost done, so I want to take that off the heat before it wilts too much. Just throw a little bit of that over our meatballs. Okay. All right. Done. 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 Okay. I know that's going to be good. I don't even have to taste that. It's also going to pick up, you know, I use the same pan as I use the meatballs. It's going to pick up on some of the flavors that were in the meat balls as well. But primarily, our main ingredients, the garlic and soy, is going to be picked up in there. Okay, so I'm going to get my plates ready. And we're going to eat here in about 30 seconds.
It smells really good in here, by the way. I wish you all could be in here right now because it smells so good.
As you can see, our rice is perfectly cooked, guys. That is some finished rice. Okay, so Lil, I'm going to ask you to come up here. I'm going to do my best to plate this nicely. And we're going to dig in. So first, we're just going to put, you know.
Oh, delicious.
Put that in the middle. Let's let that be our little bottom piece there. We'll put some spinach on the side. Okay. And let's ladle in some of these delicious meatballs. Let's mix that up just a little bit. Put that on top. This is for you. This is to complete your Swedish experience that you had over the weekend with the movies.
Thank you.
This is what they didn't give you.
Oh, yay. I get it now.
So dig in and let me know what you think whilst I make my plate. So guys, I hope that I achieved my goal of not only this tasting good, but showing you guys how easy it is to knock something like this out. It looks kind of fancy. At the end of the day, it's really easy, guys.
It's really not fancy.
Oh, geez, thanks a
lot. But it's really good. I mean, I bet it is. It smells good. We're going to taste it in a second.
Well, hopefully the meatballs aren't too hot. You know what I mean? Usually we burn our mouths here.
Yeah, we do.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's
Ready?
go. I'm ready.
Good luck.
You too.
Yum.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I didn't get rice yet. I'm going there next.
Give him a little
Oh my God.
walk down flavor lane.
Oh, okay. Well, then we need another bite for that.
I like that. Little walk down flavor lane. Well, look, as you see, like the colors are great because you have the bright green, you have the yellow with the curry, and you have the brown meatballs, and everything really works together, guys. Let's try the spinach.
Oh wow, the spinach is really good too. It's not that weird that he used grape jelly. It's like perfectly sweet, but not too sweet. It's not overwhelming. Mm-hmm. It's just a very nice, subtle, gooey yumminess.
Couldn't have said it better myself. A gooey yumminess. We're going to wrap things up here, guys. I really appreciate you being here with us in The Single Chef. We have an awesome time doing the show for you. Like I said, catch us, The Single Chef, across the boards on Facebook, Twitter, here at theroomlive.com. You can watch all our shows here for free, as well as iTunes. We'll see you next time on The Single Chef. Learn how to cook because we don't want to be single forever, right? Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Cheers.